What if everything you held dear, your family, your fortune, your very health, vanished in a single, catastrophic day? This isn't a terrifying scene from a nightmare, but the harsh reality faced by Job, hailed as the most righteous man on earth. And the most bewildering part? God himself permitted this devastation. Why would such suffering befall a virtuous man? And what role did Satan play in this divine tragedy? In this video, we will unveil the shocking story of Job, a man who confronted the depths of despair, challenged the power of hell, and withstood God's wrath, only to emerge victorious. Stay with us until the end, as we will reveal the secret behind Job's unshakable faith and how he was ultimately restored twofold. Like, share, and subscribe to dive deeper into this incredible journey. Comment below and join our community of faith explorers. Let's begin. In the land of Uz, a realm shrouded in mystery, lived Job, a man of unparalleled righteousness. The Bible lauds him as the most upright of his time, a beacon of integrity and devotion. Job's life was a testament to blameless living, marked by a deep reverence for the Lord and an unwavering commitment to avoiding sin. His faithfulness was renowned, acknowledged not only by his peers, but by God himself. Beyond his spiritual virtues, Job was abundantly blessed with material wealth and a flourishing family. His possessions were vast, including 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, making him the wealthiest man in the East. Yet, his greatest treasure was his profound relationship with God. Job was not only a man of immense wealth, but also a devoted father to 10 children, 7 sons and 3 daughters, who frequently gathered in joyous celebration. As the spiritual head of his household, Job diligently interceded for his family. As noted in Job 1 verse 5, he would rise early, sanctifying them and offering burnt offerings, fearing they might have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. This act of continual intercession revealed the depth of his faith and his profound sense of responsibility before God. In a dramatic turn of events, the scene shifts to the heavenly realm. The sons of God, a term for angels, assembled before the Lord, and among them, unexpectedly, appeared Satan. This detail unveils a crucial truth. Even the adversary is subject to God's sovereign authority. Satan's presence, far from being outside of divine control, underscores that nothing escapes God's purview. In response to God's inquiry about his whereabouts, Satan admits to roaming the earth, seeking to accuse and devour, reminiscent of the roaring lion described in 1 Peter 5 verse 8. Yet, in this cosmic confrontation, God poses a powerful question, highlighting Job's righteousness. God places Job at the center of this heavenly dialogue, exalting his faithfulness as an example amidst a corrupt world. It is remarkable that the Creator himself testifies to Job's integrity, underscoring how special Job was in his eyes. Satan, however, challenges this assertion. Satan insinuates that Job's devotion is merely a product of his blessings, a transactional faith that would crumble under hardship. He suggests that if Job's wealth and comfort were stripped away, he would undoubtedly curse God. This is a direct assault on Job's character and, indirectly, on the divine plan. God, in a decision that sets the stage for an unprecedented trial, grants Satan limited permission to test Job. He allows Satan to afflict Job's possessions and family, but explicitly forbids him from harming Job's health or life. This divine boundary on God's absolute sovereignty, even the actions of the evil one, are under his control. The narrative takes a harrowing turn as a seemingly ordinary day in Job's life spirals into his worst nightmare. Suddenly, a messenger arrives with devastating news. Sabians had attacked, stealing Job's oxen and donkeys and slaughtering his servants. Before Job could process this loss, another messenger brings word of a supernatural calamity, fire from heaven consuming his sheep and more servants. The speed and magnitude of these disasters were overwhelming. A third report follows, equally devastating: Chaldeans seizing his camels and killing more servants. It seemed as though the entire universe conspired to strip Job of everything he owned. The most heart-wrenching blow was the final one. the loss of his 10 children in a single, tragic natural disaster. A great wind caused the house they were in to collapse, ending their lives abruptly. Job's grief at this moment is beyond description. Faced with immense losses, Job's reaction was astonishing. Instead of succumbing to despair or blaming God, he chose to worship. He tore his mantle, shaved his head, and fell to the ground in reverence. His declaration, "Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord," profoundly acknowledges God's sovereignty. He did not see his losses as random, but as part of God's plan, even though it was beyond his understanding. Another heavenly gathering occurs, and Satan again appears before the Lord. The initial dialogue mirrors the first encounter, but this time the challenge intensifies. Despite all the calamities, Job's integrity remained intact. God reaffirms his testimony about Job, emphasizing that despite extreme adversity, he neither sinned nor questioned God's character. This acknowledgement invalidates any argument that Job's faith was superficial or self-serving. Satan, however, persists in his accusation, claiming that Job's integrity was preserved only because his health was unaffected. He argues that physical suffering would be enough to shatter any man's faith, thus challenging the authenticity of Job's devotion. Once more, God permits Satan to test Job but sets a boundary. His life must be spared. This detail underscores God's sovereignty, even in the most painful trials. God allows suffering but always within his absolute control. The trial struck Job in a devastating way. His health was afflicted with painful boils covering his entire body. This physical suffering is described in vivid detail, portraying Job in his most humiliated and vulnerable state, sitting in ashes and trying to relieve his pain with a broken piece of pottery. At this critical moment, Job's wife, overwhelmed by grief and despair, offers advice that reflects her own loss of hope. Her words reveal the devastating impact of Job's trials on her, showing how suffering can test even the closest relationships. Job's response is an extraordinary declaration of faith and submission to God's sovereignty. He acknowledges that God, being just, has the right to give and take, to bless and allow suffering. Despite his pain and his wife's despair, Job maintains his integrity and refrains from cursing God. Job's 3 friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, arrive with the intention to comfort him. Initially, their intentions seemed noble, to comfort and show solidarity amidst his suffering. However, their words turned into accusations, exacerbating Job's pain. Eliphaz suggested that Job's suffering was due to hidden sins, a simplistic view of divine justice. Bildad asserted that Job's suffering proved his guilt, and Zophar accused Job of deserving even greater punishment. Job denounced their insensitivity, maintaining his innocence and calling for divine justice. He cursed the day of his birth, expressing his deepest anguish. Yet he never cursed God. He pleaded with God for an end to his suffering, a search for understanding amidst affliction while maintaining faith in God's sovereignty. If you've been moved by Job's incredible journey of faith, suffering, and restoration, hit the like button, subscribe for more inspiring content, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this powerful message.